Hey, so a few weeks ago, Occupy Democrats shared this graphic, and it was pointing out that, according to them, the Electoral College is very undemocratic because they took the examples of California and Wyoming, and they said, look at this. California has about 67 times the population of Wyoming, but only has about 18 times the number of electoral votes. So, if you do the math, they said you have 705,000 California residents per electoral vote versus in Wyoming you only have 194,000 residents per electoral vote. So they said, how unfair is it that each vote from Wyoming is worth about 3.6 times as much as a vote from California? And they said, this is why the Electoral College is archaic and maybe it should be done away with because that's how we got George W. Bush. That's how we got Donald Trump, is because the electoral vote triumphed over the popular vote in the election. So I decided to dig a little bit deeper and do a little bit more math than Occupy Democrats did, and this is what I found. We got California. We had 7.3 million people vote for Hillary Clinton. We had 3.9 million people vote for Trump. And we had 600,000 people vote third party. So, obviously, all 55 of California's electoral votes went towards Hillary Clinton. And there was 4.4 million people who casted votes that didn't have any fruition. They didn't obviously go anywhere. So 4.4 million people's voices in California were not heard. Then we go over to Wyoming, and we say there was 174,000 votes for Trump, and only 55,000 votes for Hillary Clinton, and 15,000 people voted third party. So we only had 70,000 people who cast votes in Wyoming whose votes didn't get translated into electoral votes. So we had 38% of California's voters' voices weren't heard, and we had 29% of voters in Wyoming whose voices weren't heard. So take that as you will. But if we look at this as, if we hold everything else constant, we'll just look at the values of California and Wyoming. There was about 12 million votes cast between the two states. So let's just say that this is such an unfair model. We'll just look at that by itself. 12 million votes cast. We had 4 million votes cast for Trump. So that's only 33% about of the vote. Hillary Clinton had 7.3 million votes from the two states combined, or 7.3 million. We'll say. So she got about 61% of the popular vote of the two states combined. And about 5% of the popular vote from those two states went to third parties. So it was a 61% combined for Hillary Clinton and 33% combined for Trump, with just the 5% obviously for third party voters. So popular vote 61-33, but the electoral vote from those two states was 95% of the electoral votes went to Hillary, and only 5% of the electoral votes went to Trump. So I found it really funny that Occupy Democrats is using this as an example of how unfair the Electoral College is. But if you look at this example, it benefited the Democratic Party tremendously. I don't know. What do you think? I think that it's amusing to see them use it as an example of how unfair it is and how it gets these Republicans elected. But in their example, their candidate would have won by a landslide. So I just wonder why they're unhappy with it. It's just amusing to me. Let me know your thoughts, comment, and let me know what you think. Thanks.